everybody can, just to leave the platform, just let maybe one or two just go to help the people. Then if anything does happen, then we're better prepared for it. You understand, don't you? Trust that you will. I've done all that I could this past week or both weeks, to try to see our Lord help you dear people here. There's been many things that I wished would have taken place and may yet tonight, and I pray that it will. And I have been trusting to see everyone healed at one time. Now, in the meeting, I see many things that's been done, many things that people, I see them sitting out there sometimes looking at me, trying their best, and I'll think, oh, I've seen it, they were healed, but I'll catch them in a few minutes, but it's done past my mind, I'll forget about it, and they're healed. For instance, there was a little girl here the other night. She was in the building, she was suffering, she probably wasn't over 8 or 10 years old. She may never be back in the building again, as far as I know. But the child had a bursted appendix. The parents didn't know it. The appendix was bursted inside the child. That baby's healed. It was healed sitting here to me. I know that. There's a lady here that's got a little baby's got a affliction on its arm. And it's a very serious thing. They had it here last night. I seen the baby sitting before me. That baby's going to get well. That's right. Yeah? That's right. But there's many of those things that I see, but I don't have time. But what it is, friends, that doesn't mean so much. The thing is, as long as their faith will touch God, they'll see themselves that it's done. You see, so if I speak it, what I speak here confirms what I'm talking about. If I speak not God's word, but I have a witness, and God is my witness. I'm thankful to have my brothers as witness of the gospel, but I have a witness with my brethren and my friends, and I have the greatest witness is my Heavenly Father, who confirms what I'm saying to be the truth. And I'm so thankful for that. Then it isn't I that does the healing, which you know. So to say it to the people, as long as I see they got healed, that's all I care for, you see, to see that they got the blessing. Now, tonight will probably be the greatest of all the nights. The great anticipation, the great strain, the people pushing, trying to get in, trying to get healed, will be the great time. And many will be healed tonight. I just have a feeling that tonight will be one of the greatest times of healing we've had in all the meetings. And I believe that it'll be tonight. Now, as we're speaking today of life stories, while I'm telling my part of things, and I know that I have many fellow citizens here that have had like-manner things. And let us all, how many people here is away from home? Let's see, this is not your native home. Let's see your hand. You're from some other city somewhere else. Oh my, half of us, or more than half, is away from home. And no matter what city we're from or where we come from, if it's just a little, as the minister said the other day, the little church in the desert, he was pastor. No matter where it is or how humble it is, it's like the old proverb or the old song, there's no place like home. Isn't that right? No place like home. And if you'll notice, always before people die, you'll notice they'll always have a longing to go back to the old home place again. My father, before he left, he had been down to his old home place for many, many years. Some 25 years, I guess. I seen him sitting on the beam of the plow one day. He was crying. I was just a little lad. I didn't know very much about it. I said, "What's the matter, Dad?" He come over and said, "You don't understand, Billy, but someday you will." He said, "I want to go home. I want to see the old home place again." You know, it wasn't a little bit that after he visited his old home, he went away. My father-in-law, he went squirrel hunting one day, and he said, "Brother Billy, you want to go with me?" And I said, "No, Brother Frank, I don't want to go." He was born up above Utica, that place called Battle Creek. Old home place is the arsenal up there now, thank you. And there was an arsenal, Indiana arsenal there. But that was just before the arsenal was built. He went up there and he come back down, and he was crying. And I was going with his daughter, and I said, "What's the matter, Brother Frank?" He said, "Billy, I set up on the old place up there today," and he said, "where the old house used to stand, to the old spring along over on the side of the hill, said I could just hear my old mother say, 'Oh, Frankie.'" Well, a few days I buried him. Maybe it was a call coming from another land. You can hear the echoes across the earth. Did you ever notice a person when they're going? I stood by many persons, held them in my arms, and watched them when they were going. I find this very strange. Please, ministers, excuse this. This is not a doctrine. I don't want this congregation to think that this is a doctrine. But I often wonder if, when we are going, I'll give my story first here. I stood by a man not some 5 or 6 years ago. He was going. He had just been saved a little while. He was sitting in a chair. He was all swollen up with heart trouble. He belonged to a certain church there in the city. And I went to him, I said, "How do you do, Mr. Bledsoe? Do you know me?" He said, "Yes, I know you, Billy." He said, "Billy, I think I'm going." I said, "Are you ready, Mr. Bledsoe?" He said, "Oh, yes, Billy. I've made my calling with God. I've answered the call." He said, "I'm ready to go if He calls me." And said, "I believe He's calling me." I said, "Well, if you're ready, Mr. Bledsoe, are you willing?" He said, "Yes, Billy, I'm willing." And I had prayer with him and went out and was talking to his wife, sitting there and he's looking across the room, talking. And we had just been in prayer and the Holy Spirit was in the room. And he raised up. He said, "Mother, why, I haven't seen you for years." Miss Bledsoe said, "Dad, are you delirious?" He said, "Well, don't you see her? There she is." He said, "Sis?" Wasn't a little bit that he was gone. I went to a man here some time ago, killed in an accident. He was just dying to come out of the accident. Like manner. I've seen many of them going that way, and I just wonder that if when we're coming, even death is hard, Jesus fought against it. Is it possible this cup should pass? But when we're coming right down to the end of the road, and I watched my wife when she went, and I wonder when we get to the end of the road there, if God just doesn't say to a mother or some of them on the other side, "Look, daughter's coming home this morning. Go down there at the bank of the river. Watch for them." We get to see them when these eyes are becoming transformed from the natural to the supernatural. In that vision, when it's catching on us, if the fog just drives away there and we can look the other side and see them coming down to the river. I hope that's so. I don't know. I couldn't say it's true. I don't know. But I've seen that many times. Our loved ones pass on. Many of you here, most of you are more like myself. Seems like yesterday I was this little bitty old boy. And here I am, I look at my hands and I think, "Oh my." And I see myself, it's creeping along. I'm getting up in the years. It seemed like yesterday a little boy playing marbles. But here we have no continuing city. But we're seeking one to come. Whose builder and maker is God. I think of when I was a little boy, we used to live in a little old cabin. There's a bunch of trees around it, the little old apple trees and some big ones. And I remember Dad used to come home from work. He was a real full-blooded Irishman. His black, wavy hair, blue eyes, small man about my size, but his sturdy, husky build. He was a logger. I seen him roll his sleeves up like that and his muscles in his arms. Ooh, my. I wanted to be like my daddy. And I thought, my daddy will live to be 100 years old. But he died with his head on my arms at 52. We don't have any continuing city here, but we're seeking one to come. I used to look at a little old house we lived in, a little old log house, boarded over. I thought that house will stand for hundreds of years. But there's a housing project there now. We don't have any continuing city here. I used to see out in front of the door when a bunch of little Branhams, there was 10 of us in the family. 9 boys and a girl. And when there's about 5 of us, I was begin with my life story there. We used to have a place watered off out in front of the porch. Looked like where a bunch of little possums had been playing, watering around all of us. Mama used to call dinner, and she had a big old kettle. Did you ever see one of the big old kettles that had 3 legs, great big old kettle, you put everything? How many of you ever seen one of those kettles? Oh my, just look at that. We all know what good eating is then, don't we? Just as slick as it could be on the inside. And she'd cook mulligan stew. That's very Irish. How many know what mulligan stew is? It's beef, cabbage, potatoes. There you are, carrots. You got it. Put it all together. Cook it up. And then let it sit for 2 or 3 days. Keep eating out of it. The last day was better than the first because the cabbage got the taste of potatoes, the cabbage. Mix it all up. Dip it out with a teacup. Yes, sir. Mom used to have a big old dipper. And we had a spring down below the house, and I used to go down there and had a gourd. Used to dip the water up in an old cedar bucket with a gourd. How many know what a gourd is? Hey, I'm not the only country boy here today. No, sir, I feel better now. Makes my clothes fit me better. I know what you're talking about. All right. Have an old gourd, lay on that old spring, my, what a time. And back under a rock, had the butter sitting there, you know. All around it. Couldn't keep the cream there because there's too many little brands. Yes, sir. We all liked it. So, Pop used to get 75 cents a day, a bucket of milk every night. Mom would skim the cream off of it to save for the butter. And, of course, had to keep it long sometimes and sour really before you got to churn it. We used to churn it and have an old churn and had a lamp chimney sitting over the top of it, you know, you flash her up and down. Did you ever do that? My, this looking here, brother. My, did you ever grind coffee? Have the coffee milk? Oh, my, that's good. Well, how many years from Kentucky anyhow? Let's see here. Well, anywhere we're living a different day now, aren't we? You press a button, the nation goes to work. So, that was good old days, I guess. Anyhow, we had a little more brotherly love and feeling for one another them days than what we do now. And I remember when Dad used to make 75 cents a day, he'd come in home. Now, my dad, he did that which was wrong. He drank. And he'd go pay off his bills, and what he had left, he'd drink it. And I hate to say that. And but it's truth. If I have to tell anything, I must tell the truth. No matter if it's black against me, well, it's black, that's all, see. If it's something scarry to me, well, I might as well tell it here because it's going to be on the canvases of the skies someday for everybody to look at. Not only would I confess it, but I've been lying. So I just really just go right along and just tell the truth about it and let it be just the way it is. Daddy drank, not only drank, but he made the whiskey. And when he would come in and home and drink, when after he'd get his grocery bill paid, so forth, he would drink up what he had left. But I don't care what he ever done. I love him today in his grave. That's right. He was my daddy. And look, young children, young folks, I don't care what it is, you always have a respect for your father and mother. I think one of the awfulest things that I can hear little children say or young folks, the old man and old woman. Listen, that's not the old man and old woman, that's your daddy and mother. And someday when you see them going out of the room head first, and the wheels beneath the casket squeaking, you'll know it isn't the old man or old woman name. That's right. You hear the preacher say, ashes to ashes and dust to dust. You realize the best friend you ever had on earth is going down. The trouble of it is you learn it too late. Don't weep and cry then and send lots of flowers. Give them to them now. Be a good boy or a good girl. I remember when old Dad used to come in, his shirt patch up on patch, and he'd stand up and sunburn his back into his shirt. So Mama take the scissors and cut them from his back. 75 cents a day in logwood to make me a living. Sure, I love him. Yes, sir. Every time when I pass to the grave and see the snow banked up there, I just feel like if I just throw myself down there, warm up the ground where his body lays beneath there. But he's not there. I had the privilege of leading my daddy to Christ before he left. I've seen his hair fall back across my arms and looked up at me. And he went out to meet God. I baptized my mother just a little bit after my conversion. And last Easter morning, I baptized my boy. I've got a little girl, 5 years now. She's been dedicated. She's coming on. And if God lets me live, I'll do everything I can to see her baptized. My little boy now, I took him out of high school. I'm going to send him up here, if I can, to the Assemblies of God or whatever it is, up here around Dallas somewhere to finish up his high school and on to college. Get him in amongst Christian people where he can work, and people that's got the Holy Ghost that'll help him come through and put the right thing before him. And if he goes wrong, he'll go over the Bible, over the Holy Spirit, and over Daddy's prayer and his praise. That's right. He'll have to cross over all that before he can ever go to hell. And I believe if you'll pray and hold on, God will answer your prayer. And my daddy, just before he left, he'd called for me. Poor old fellow, I hate to say this, he just killed me sitting there. He died hungry. That's right. My daddy died hungry. And he is during the time of depression. We couldn't work and couldn't find nothing to work, and he was sickly, and we were just barely making them, just dividing what we could divide. But I know he was hungry, because we hadn't eaten since the day before. And he had a heart attack. And I stood by his bed, and I picked him up on my arm like I had to look at me. And went out to meet God. I believe someday I'll see him again. Mother, she's getting aged. It won't be very much longer. Every time when I leave her old quivering lips when she kisses me, she said, honey, someday you'll return and Mother will be gone. I said, then Mother, I'll come where you are someday. That's right, I'll be up there. And so I remember when they were married, when they were young, when I was just a little bitty fellow. Daddy was 18 years old, Mama was 15 when I was born. Just children. And we were children with them, growed up with them. I think that's a good thing. I do. My little girl, when she gets to be any age, and she finds a good Christian boy that she wants to marry, I'd rather she'd marry him and settle down and be a lady and be out in some of these roadhouses running around and what they call having a good time. That's right. The Bible said, let your daughters marry young. Some's already turned aside after Satan. And I ain't meaning for little bitty kids to get married now. Let your father and mother, they know they're Christians, they can instruct you. I remember how we used to go to town on Saturday night, go in and pay the grocery bill. We'd all get a treat of candy. You remember when you used to get a treat? Oh my, that old peppermint stick candy, you remember that? Oh, wasn't that real candy? Oh my. I remember we'd all get in a little old Jersey wagon, we call it there. You all call it buckboard here, I believe. We'd put some straw in the back and a whole lot of quilts and get in there and all that bunch of kiddies. We'd have a little old mule. We'd drive about 7 miles down to the city, stop. Dad would go in, his mother get the groceries and come back out. And I remember they used to have a 2-gallon can of coal oil. We burned coal oil light. You've done that, haven't you? Many of you. Burned the coal oil light. Did you ever get to a place where you didn't have enough oil for the wick to reach it and then pour water in it and let it get up there till you... Oh, take a big old potato and stick it over the spout so going home, wouldn't shake the coal oil out of the can, get it on the groceries. It was a great days, wasn't it? That's right. So we remember going up, we'd sit there, and when Pop would pay the grocery bill, we'd come out with a little sack of candy. Mr. Drawer would give us a sack of candy when we paid the grocery bill each week. And then we'd come out, and maybe it'd be about 5 sticks, or maybe 4 sticks, and 5 little Branhams for it to be divided among. Boy, there'd be about 5 sets of little blue eyes, every one of them watching that candy. The stick was equally divided. Had to be equally divided. We'd break that candy, stuff on it. I had a little trick I'd do. Hell, Monday wasn't blue day for me. I'd take the stuff on my piece of candy a little bit and wrap it up in a piece of paper and put it in my pocket. Then on Monday morning, Mama would say, William? I'd say, yes, Mama. You have to go to the spring and get a bucket of water. I'd say, Humpy, if you'll go get the bucket of water, I'll let you suck on my candy until I can count 10. I'd have this old piece of peppermint, oh my, it was real. Did you ever eat with salty crackers? Oh my. Listen, I guess tomorrow I could go and get me a whole box of Hershey's if I wanted to, but there's no candy like that. That's the best there is. Like when you're just a little kid, that old peppermint. My longest candy lasted, I Ghost. I would keep that tent and wait for the work, something hard I didn't want to do, you know, and then I'd get my brother to do it, some of them, you know, and they'd go ahead and eat their candy up and I'd save mine. I remember when Daddy used to shave. He used to have a shaving brush made out of shuck. How many ever seen a shuck shaving brush? Oh, somebody has. I'd shave with them. Take the old shucks like that. Did you ever have a shuck pillow? Where you take the pillow and strip the shucks and put it in there? Well, sure, and straw mattress, and take this old, had a little piece of glass drove up where we used to wash out there, you know, at the old wash bench, and little fellows would slick their hair down to tie almost over their mouth open. They had an old bench built back behind the table. And Mother would call dinner, all of it would go over the table and everywhere, getting up there, and she'd set the great big bowl right in the middle of the table like this, and bake the cornbread in the pan. How many ever eat cornbread baked in a pan? Oh, is that fine? And you know, I used to sit right on the corner next to Daddy, and we'd pass the bread, and I'd break the corner off so I get plenty of crust around when she was up and good around on the corner. Go around and, you know, we broke bread. Now you cut it with a knife. You broke bread. You used to say, Jesus broke bread and blessed it. He never cut it. So that wasn't our reason of it. We just break it. Each fellow break him off a piece and went around the table. And that great big old pot of beans there, the big piece of Joe in it. Say, you know, that would go bad right now, would it? That would be fine, even right now. That's good eating. Yes, sir. And then we would have a big day, and Sunday we'd have a pudding. How many ever had the old sweet pudding, you know, used to make it up in the pan, had some kind of little gadget stuck right in the middle of the pan, you know, and that was a rarity. We glad to get a hold of that. Brother and I used to argue who would stop the pan. Did you ever stop the pan? Oh, my. We just a big bunch of kids growing up then, aren't we? So we just get out there and stop the pan. My, what a time we would have. Now I tell you, I put in mind an old-fashioned Holy Ghost meeting. But one good thing, we're not stopping the pan anymore now, are we, folks? We're just getting the cake now, that's right. And God comes right down with us and gives us the foretaste of glory divine. And then, not long ago, I was coming out of a meeting, and I passed by and seen that old place. You don't know how it made me feel. I remember when I used to go to school down there, a little old fellow, I didn't have no clothes to wear, and just ragged. I remember I went to school all winter one time with a coat on. A rich lady had given me and I didn't have no shirt. I took this coat that had a little old eagle on the arm, and I thought that was the prettiest thing, and I'd take this coat, and I had a big catch pin, I'd pin it up like this. So, kind of got on to the springtime. It's awful hot. Teacher said, William wants to take off that coat. I said, I'm chilly. I couldn't take that off, but didn't have no shirt. So she said, well, you're probably catching a cold, William. Come over here to the stove. She followed that stove up over there, old country school, you know, and the sweat just running off of me. She said, are you still cold? I said, yes, ma'am. I couldn't get that coat off there. I had no shirt on. I just couldn't do it. I went home, and there had to be some arrangements made for that, you know, because the kids see me, I just said, oh, where's that coat on? So I remember one of my cousins, they come over to sit, and they had the three of them, two boys and a girl, and the girl's about my age. So she left one of her dresses there. I took the skirt part, cut it off real low down here, and put it on for a shirt. I went to school, you know, and they had that little, little stuff on it. What did she call it? Rip-rap. Rip-rap, that's what it is. Little rip-rap all right over the sides of it. I said something wrong there, didn't I? What is it? That's what it was. It was all over it, you know, and so some of them said, laughing at me, and I said, why, what do you think that is? That's part of my Indian suit. With all that stuff on it. Oh, my, what a life. I remember in 1917 we were in school. Come a great snow in Indiana. And, it drifted sometimes, must be 17, 18 feet high. And it started raining and sleet. It froze the crust all some inch and a half thick. And all the boys in school were sliding, on their sleds and things. We were too poor to have it. We got something to eat, we done well. So we didn't have, Brother and I didn't have any sled, but we got us a big old dish pan out of the dump. We'd put our legs around one another and slide. We wasn't as much class as the rest of it. We were sliding just the same. So we were right on down the hill, turning around and around and around this little bitty span. That served as a sled till the bottom come out of it. So we went out and got us a log. And we took knapsacks and chopped it up like that. The end of it, we made us a sled. We pulled this little log, and going to school. We got down there, and I remember that winter there used to be a magazine so-called Pathfinder. I don't know whether you ever remember the old Pathfinder. I might be talking to a lot of boys who sold it. Anyhow, that was the time of the war, and everything that was big enough to put on a uniform had a uniform on it. Everything was, the highest respect was for a uniform. And I used to see those soldiers come up the road. We had a big old sassafras pole out there. We run the flag up on it. We get that flag up and see all those soldiers have to stop and salute that flag before they pass it. At school, and oh my, we'd have a big time out of that. I'd see those soldiers, them wrap leggings, and everything. Oh my, how I wanted to wear a uniform. I said, when I get to be a man, I'm going to be a soldier. Well, I was too little then. When this other war come along, I guess I wasn't man enough. I tried to enlist and everything. He wouldn't have me, so I finally got to join the Army. A uniform. I might not show it on the outside, but I got it on the inside. That's right. I joined the ranks of Christianity. In there I have a uniform on called the baptism of the Holy Spirit. I'm in a great battle doing everything I can. Now, I might not be able to, I can feel it. I know it's there. And that's the main thing. And Lloyd Ford, a friend of mine, he went to school down there. I guess Brother Curtis is laughing now. The boy that's here, one of my friends, remembers Lloyd. And he used to sell this Pathfinder, and he got him a little Boy Scout suit. And oh my, how he looked so nice in that Scout suit. I said, Lloyd, after you wear that out, will you give it to me? He said, yes, I'll give it to you. My, how long that old suit lasted. Went on for a long time. One day I said, Lloyd, what about that suit? He said, well, Billy, I'll see if he's, where's that? He come back and he said, next day at school, he said, well, Billy, said, I tell you, he said, I wore it out. And my mama taken part of the trousers and patched Dad's clothes and said, they made a dog pallet out of the coat and it's all gone. Said, I ain't got a thing of it left but one leg. And I said, bring me that. I wanted something. So he brought his little old leg and about that long, had a little drawstring in it. Many of you remember what it was. Now, I wore that around the house and I thought, if I could only wear that to school. Wouldn't the kids look at me, with this leg and all? So I went out to school and I put it back in my coat. I was riding down on the sled, on this old log sled, down the bottom of the hill, and the log turned over and over, and I wanted to get some excuse to put that leg on. So, as soon as I said, oh, I hurt my leg. Not half as bad as I was acting like. I said, oh, my leg hurts. I said, all the boys standing around saying, you hurt yourself? Corncracker? Kentucky, I said, yeah, I hurt my leg. I said, boy, that just reminds me, I've got one of my leggings in my Scout suit here. That'll help it a whole lot. I put it on. They all got away from me. When I went to the boards, you supposed to go blackboards to work the problem? Just wash one hand, the one they had to hold up to the teacher, So I got around like this, and I put both legs together like this so they wouldn't know and hold out like this and stand sideways for it. My problem is everybody looking at me with that leg and all. All the kids got laughing at me, and the teacher made me go home. I got to crying, so she run me home, so I had to go home. Oh my, but I say, God finally dressed me up on the inside. I do have it on the inside anyhow. I'm American, I love my nation, I'm willing to go to war anytime it goes to war. It's just Branham after Branham laying dead around France there in Germany. That's right, many of them are laying there waiting for the resurrection. And if it become necessary for my country, I'd be very happy to lay myself with them to keep freedom where we can have religion and like we've got it now. No greater nation in the world than our America. I mean that from my heart. Long may our land be bright with freedom's holy light. Protect us by thy might, great God our King. But dear Christian friends, I had rather be in the army of the Lord than any place I know of. That's right. Because I know that someday we're going to a land where there's ceaseless ages. We'll live there forever. And if I'm not man enough to be out in the army to fight with the armed forces, then God give me a job here to fight the powers of the enemy. And I have a soldier after all, one in the ranks with you, dressed with your type uniform, and your brothers in the service. Now, how them old days really tantalize us, and many things happen that I wouldn't have time to tell you along the road, but you know how it is in old school days. Wouldn't you like to go back there again? Go back just, I wish I could live one day again. I wish I could get to that old table that my daddy built on top of a stump. And I would like to go back there and sit down there and just live one more day. I'd give all. If I had $100 million laying on this platform, God knows my heart. And I realize that night after night I wrestle with demon powers, and I'm not immune from them. They can come to me. Remember one time some boys who thought they had a gift of healing said to a man who had epilepsy, I adjure thee by Jesus who Paul preaches, come out of it. The devil said, Paul I know and Jesus I know, but who are you? Is that right? You have to watch what you're doing. Be sure that you're called for these things. And the man was jumped on and stripped the clothes off and run through the streets naked. Now, if I had this platform laying full of money, millions of dollars, and could pass it every bit away just to see one more scene, and that is, if I could see my old dad enter that tent right there, come walking right down this way and reach up his hand and catch me by the hand, I'd give everything I ever had in my life or ever would have had. If I could just hold his hand one more time. The real things of life are right around you and you don't see them. That's all. You don't know it till it's gone. That's right. I just once more see Dad. But I can't. He's gone on. On down through life, many times you've seen in my little book there how the angel of the Lord appeared back in those days when I sat right on a keg when I was only about 8 years old or 9, watching the whiskey still run all night long. Get right up and started down packing water back to this still. And it's right there on my road back from the pump where the angel of the Lord spoke to me and said, don't you never drink or smoke or defile your body in any way, for there'll be a work for you to do when you get older. Like scared me to death. I remember one day my daddy was going down to the river, he and another man. I was trying to find favor with this man because he had a good boat. I wanted to pull the boat. We got 10 cents a dozen for finding bottles for them who there was the moonshiners that was fixing the whiskey. And I had an old paddle, and we'd down the river be up. We'd have to paddle, didn't have no rudder on the old boat, and had to bail water a while and so forth, trying to get along, find the bottles of brother. Now, this man had a fine duck, y'all. Now, he acted like he liked me, and I wanted to keep favor with him, and we started across a little tree, and Dad just set his leg across like that to cross over the little blowing down tree. And when he did, he stopped, pulled a little flat bottle of whiskey out of his pocket, handed it over to the next man to take a drink, and the other man taking a drink and handed it to me, for me to take a drink. I said, no thanks, I don't drink. I was about 8, 9 years old. He said, what? A Branham and no drink? Most all Branham diapers or shoes on. So I said, no sir, I don't drink. My daddy said, no, I raised one sissy. Oh my, a sissy. I said, give me the bottle. My daddy looked at me. I took the bottle full of stopper out of it, just as determined to drink it as I am to finish up my service this afternoon. I turned that bottle up, started to take a drink. When I did, I heard them leaves in that bush again going. That's the way it appeared to me when it first. It's like a roaring of leaves. Looked up and seen about the size of a barrel going back and forth through the trees, and there a human voice spoke to me and said, don't never smoke or drink, defile your body. I said to me, don't smoke or drink. Now, I'm not preaching against one thing other. He told me not to smoke or drink. If you smoke and drink and say you're a Christian, that's up to you and God. But he told me not to do it. Not to do it. And so I didn't. I heard many people say, well, I drink a little bit, a sociable drink, and I smoke, and it don't condemn me. Well, maybe you think we're far enough yet. That's all. You get a little farther on, you'll understand. That's right. That's right. You won't have no desire for that. And so then, when I was standing there, and I took the bottle just as determined to drink it as I could be, and I heard that go. I dropped the bottle and screamed and run up across the hill through the field, and they laughed at me. And along I got to be about 17, 18 years old, like all boys, I got a little girlfriend, you know. You know how that goes. Now, don't you men look at me like that. You did the same thing. And you know how pretty she was. You know, she had eyes like a dove and teeth like pearl and a neck like a swan. You know, and there you are. You loved her, the prettiest thing you ever seen. Oh, she was pretty. And a little country boy that lived there by me, he said he could get his old daddy's old Ford. We had to jack the back of it up and crank it, you know, with that back wheel, you know, going. We got us a couple gallon of gasoline. I had about 40 cents, and we got our girls to go riding. So we went out. I was so bashful. I sat way over on one side of the car and looked at her. She's pretty. My, she's from the city, and she just moved out there. And I thought, my, she's a pretty thing. And I look at her and I say, yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Watch her, you know. And so we stopped to get some sandwiches. And I went in, got a sandwich, get a ham sandwich for a nickel. So I got some Coke and come back out, and we started eating the sandwiches, drinking the Coke, having a wonderful time. I took the bottles back. When I come back out, to my surprise, my girlfriend was smoking a cigarette. Now that was just about time the girl started smoking cigarettes. Well, I've always had my opinion of a woman that would smoke a cigarette. Now I haven't changed it a bit. That's right. It's the lowest, most degrading thing that a woman ever done to smoke a cigarette. It's worse than being drunk on the street. Now watch your face get red. That's right. Listen, let me tell you something. Brother, that's the biggest fifth column that we have in America. I'm not afraid about Russia coming in and whipping us or some other nation coming in and whipping us. We're whipping ourselves. Our own morals is degrading us. That's right. Brother, it ain't the robin that pecks on the apple that hurts the apple. It's the worm at the core that kills the apple. That's right. Now I tell you, brother, you let a woman get an old-time case of salvation and it'll straighten her up. That's right. She'll quit doing it. Or a man, either one. That's exactly right. Amen. That's right. Well, I'm not here to preach the gospel. These preachers do that for you, see. You don't want me to go to preach to you like that. I say that's me would hate me sure enough. Well, I believe in a real old-fashioned gospel that straightens a man or woman up and makes him puke up the devil. That's right. And get right with God. That's just little. I've been vomited up. Excuse that word. Oh, I'm just as sick when I'm puking as you are when you're vomiting. I'll think of that. So all this is saying, oh, some of them fine words, I don't know much of them about it, but it's the truth anyhow. I tell you, you get God in your heart, and it'll sure make you fix yourself up. That's right. It'll bring the real thing out. I wanted to find a girl that didn't want nothing to do with one that smoked cigarettes. And you look here, I get statistics from the government, and it claims that 80% of the women that has their babies today can't raise them as mothers ought to. Cigarette-smoking mothers or babies don't reach 18 months old. They take nicotine poison and kill them. They have to raise them on revival on cow's milk. Talk about a fifth column. What will America be? Here not long ago was in a barber chair, and there was a fellow sitting there, and he was just a shaking and a trembling, and he got up and he said, "Aren't you Preacher Branham?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, I appreciate, and he just smoking as hard as he could, I appreciate your comments the other day on cigarettes. And then he gave me his story. He said, "My father and mother both smoked. And when I was born," said, "I cried the first 6 months of my life." And said they couldn't understand it. And one day, when the doctor came, said, "Stand there," my father lit up a cigarette, was smoking, and said, "I quit crying." The doctor said, "Wait a minute here." He said, "Take that baby outside." Took me outside and started crying. Brought me back and smoked a cigarette, smoked into me, and said, "I whitened. Cigarette nerves." I had to give him nicotine from that time. Said, "Look, you hear at me now? I just can't stop it. My daddy and mother, oh, said they were the cause of it." What will his children be? There you are. There you are, brother. I tell you, it's a shame and a disgrace. If you women smoke cigarettes, for goodness sakes, today, get away from it and stay away from it. Be a real lady, right to the core. That's right. Yes, sir. Stop it right now. And I'll tell you now, if God don't think no more of you than the angel of the Lord does against that stuff, you'll have a slim chance when you get to the gates of ever getting in. And that's right. You don't have to do that. There's no sense of it. Now, if it's something to eat or something like that, it'd be different. But that's something there's no need of. No sense of it. Now, watch closely. As we have to hurry, I get started over on the gospel and forget about my life story. But anyhow, I remember her sitting there, you know, when she was smoking that cigarette, and she said, blowing it out of her nose, you know, and that firefly, God expects you to smoke, he put smokestacks on you. So he said that blowing it out of her nose like that. That just degraded her to me right then. And she said, will you have a cigarette, Billy? Like that. I said, no ma'am, I don't smoke. She said, you don't drink now, and you don't dance, and you don't smoke, so what do you like to do? I said, I like to go fishing and hunting. Of course, that didn't interest her, so she didn't care about that. She said, she went laughing at me. She said, you big sissy. Oh, my girl called me a sissy. I said, hand me that package of cigarettes. And I got a hold of one just determined to smoke it. God is my judge. When I started to light that cigarette before I could strike the match, I heard that come again. And they turned, I got out of the car crying, and they turned the lights on me and let me walk up that road, follow me with the lights on me, teasing me and making fun of me because I was too much of a sissy to smoke a cigarette. It wasn't I was too much of a sissy, but God was preserving that gift for this day. That's all. It wasn't me. I was determined to do it. But it was God protected it in that day for it. Thank you, honey girl. Thank you, sweetheart. Isn't that lovely? Let's say praise the Lord for the little girl. God bless you, sweetheart. God bless you, honey. God bless you. Look at her little. Well, bless her.
I'm sorry, I had to get up myself. Really, really could just get to pray for my eyes. Pray for her. You made it. You prayed for her 4 years ago. And she's sick. I'm getting Spanish sick out of this piece.
Well, God bless her.
Brother King brought it to you.
I want to give this testimony here. The little girl was unable to speak or anything when she come 4 years ago, and she brought this as a little commemoration of her healing after she was healed 4 years ago. Let's say praise the Lord.
You feel my husband about 3 nights ago. Sitting on the poster.
What was that? Her husband was healed a few nights ago, so he'd be sitting there at the post there and was called out with cancer, and he's healed. There he is standing in the aisle back there. Let's say praise the Lord. Let's say praise the Lord for that. How wonderful. Her husband, that's fine. Said he'd come up from down around Douglas or somewhere from Brother King's church. All right. We're thankful to hear that, and that's mighty nice, a little commemoration to come back just to give it to me. When a little Spanish girl, she was awfully afflicted, and she couldn't speak, and her little hands was just rolled together or something. There's little stubs there. I believe the child will be all right now. Now, back to the life story. When we were in that night, the girl, when they turned the light on me and made me walk up the road, and I went up and sat down in the field and cried, and I was ready to try to take my life. I said, I just don't know. I'm ready to end this thing. I said, how in the world could I ever go through life and everybody against me? Looked like when I go home, they had parties and so forth. Then when I would try to get out with people, I was misunderstood. I never was understood right until I got amongst this group of people. That's exactly right. Then I had people who understood me and loved me. And then on down, some of you might wonder, being so backward and bashful, how I ever come to get married. I'll tell you about it as quick as I can. After that girl done me like that, I just starred myself against the women. I said I didn't have nothing to do with them at all. And I thought that was horrible. I said I'll never have nothing to do with any more girls. I'll never go out with one as long as I live. I'd go down the street and I'd see one on one side of the street. I'd cross over and get on the other if I thought she was going to speak to me. I was really against it. So one day I happened to be out making a high dive somewhere out of a tree, and a car drove up, and a young lady stepped out. There it was again. So there it all started. She happened to be a Christian girl, my little boy's mother. And she started me going to church. And I went with her for about 6 or 8 months, and she was such a nice girl, so friendly and nice and ladylike. That's the type of girl that I like. Only her father was, well, he done pretty well. He had a good job making about $500 and something a month on Pennsylvania, organizer on the Pennsylvania Railroad. I'd make 20 cents an hour. He drove a Buick, and I had an old T-model Ford backslid. So it's quite a difference in the way we had to live. So I liked her, and I went with her. So I remember, I know I had to either marry her or ask her if she would marry me or let somebody go. If she's too good a girl, just take up her time like that. She'd make somebody a good wife. So I loved her well enough, but I didn't want to ruin her life like that. So I said, I got to make up my mind now, and I haven't got the nerves to ask her. So I said, now, what can I do? So I guess you wonder how I ever asked her. Well, I try to ask her, and you know how a great big lump comes up your throat here and you can't swallow, you know, when you're trying to say anything? I'd say every time I go, now I'm going to ask her tonight. Yes, sir, I'll do it. And I'd get to her, I'd say, now 10 minutes more by my watch, I'll ask her. That 10 minutes just rolled on by. I didn't do any good. I couldn't ask her. So I guess you wonder how I ever got married. I wrote her a letter. I wrote her a letter. Now, it wasn't a dear miss. It had a little more mushy, as we call it, than that. I remember I wrote her all out, and I asked her if she'd marry me. I didn't have nerve enough to give it to her, so I just put it in the mail. So I put it on Monday morning, went on to work. I had a date with her for Wednesday night to go to church, and so as Wednesday night began to come along, I began to think about it. What if her mother got a hold of that letter? and she didn't get it. And then her dad and I were very good friends. Her mother too, but her dad was just a fine old Dutchman. But her mother, she was kind of a little prissy, you know, and I guess she thought I was a little trashy for her daughter. So she was a good woman, but I just wasn't up in the place to marry her. That was all I know, and she didn't think so much of me. But I tried to treat her nice, but I just couldn't get on the good side of her somehow. So I remember I got thinking about it, and I scared to death to go up there that night. So I got my old Ford finally, dressed up to the best and only, you know, and went up there and stopped in front of the house. I know better than to blow the horn. Oh my! She was a lady. Yes, sir. If your girl, if you love her enough to go with her, go in like a man and get her. That's right. So I knew better to blow the horn, so I walked out of the car and walked up to the door, and I thought, oh my, this is all of it. I knocked at the door like that, and my heart just raced as hard as it could, you know. And I thought, who's going to come through? I could just see her mother come through and say, William, I got that letter on mine. So I said, Hope come through, and she said, oh, hello, Billy. And I said, hi, Hope. Her name is Hope. And I said, she said, come in. I thought, uh-oh. They get me inside. Now I know I haven't got a running chance then. What do I do about that? So I said, well, I'll just wait out here. It's awfully warm. And she said, oh, step in. Mother wants to see you. And I thought, oh. You know how Satan can lie to you, you know, and tell you, that's it. So don't ever, circumstantial evidence won't do every time, you see. So I stepped in the door, my hat off with all my Sunday manners. I was just best that I know how to act. And I said, sure is warm, isn't it? And so she said, yeah, I'll be ready just in a few minutes. And so her mother come in, and she spoke just as nice. And I thought, oh, she never got that letter. So then I got feeling pretty good, and so I went on down. We went to church, and she said, let's just walk to church tonight instead of going in the car. Oh, she got it. Here it is. So we went down and walked to church. I never heard a word Dr. Davis said that night. He preached and preached, and I was sitting there thinking, yep, this is my last day. She'll tell me as soon as you got here, that's all off now. I got your letter, and that's, you know how it think, you know. You keep thinking, it'll be a reality to you after a while, you know. I could just hear her saying, this is all, and I thought, oh, isn't she pretty? Isn't she a nice lady? Don't I hate to hear this time come? I could even hear what the preacher was saying. After service was over, we started walking on down home. She never said nothing. I go on, when we come out from under the trees, you know, the moon shining bright, and I look over and those dark eyes, you know. I said, I hate to hear her say it, but after all, I got pretty brave. I thought, she never got the letter. It's just stuck in a box, that's all. Got to breathing better. I said, she done named it to me before now. She'd have got that letter, so I was going along, you know, feeling pretty good then. And I was talking right along, we was walking on, she said, Billy, and I said, yes. She said, I got your letter. Oh my. And then she just walked on, never said a thing. I said, you did? She said, uh-huh. That's all. Just won't walk. You know how a woman can do. Just suspense, you know. She said, just walk on, never said a thing. I said, well, did you read it? She said, I said, did you read all of it? She said, That's all she said. She said, oh, I thought, oh, girl, do something. You're going to kill me. Just on like that. She just kept on going like that. And after a while, well, I said, what'd you think about it? She said, it was all right. Well, we got married. So there you are. We got married. That was it. So, but one more thing. When she was, I remember she told me I'd have to ask her mother for her. I said, honey, look, let's you and I make an agreement. See, we're supposed to be 50-50 on these things. You ask your mother and I'll ask your daddy. She said, all right. Well, I said, that's all right. So I thought I could get by pretty well with Charlie because he liked me real well. And he understood me more. So that night I remember I had to ask, I sat there and I wasn't having any good time at all. Just playing the Victrola, you know, and I went outside. I got the door and she looked at me. I was going to go without asking, you know. And I said, Charlie was sitting there typing on a typewriter, you know, and it was 9:30 the time I had to go. So she said, I walked to the door and I said, Charlie? He said, yes, Bill. I said, can I speak to you down here just a minute? He said, yes. He looked over at this and run back, and she looked at him. Oh. I said, here's where it all ends, right here. We went outside. Then I thought maybe Hope had already told her mother, and her mother done told him to say no, you know. So I had it all fixed out how it was going to be. Well, how are you, Bill? I said, oh, pretty good. I said, sure is a nice night tonight, isn't it, Charlie? He said, it sure is, Bill. He said, yes, Bill, you can have her. Oh, my. I liked him yesterday. He just went home to glory. She said, oh, God bless his soul. You don't know what he'd say to me then. I said, Charlie, look, I'm as poor as I can be. I'm working down here at a ditch for 20 cents an hour. I said, I love her with all my heart. I can't clothe her and feed her, dress her the way you can. But Charlie, I'll say this. I'll be as good to her as I know how to be. I'll work until my hands run blood to make her a living. He put his hand over on me and said, Billy, look, I'd rather you have her and be good to her. After all, happiness does not consist of how much the world's goods you own, but how contented you are with the portion that's allotted to you. Right. I said, well, Charlie, I'll be just as good to her as I know how to be. And we was married, and when we got married, we didn't have nothing to go to housekeeping with. She was very poor. I was the one who married her, and she was the one taking me to organize the sport. And we were happy, just as happy, some of the happiest days of my life. I just, during that time, I'd just been ordained to be a minister. I didn't have no churches yet, but we were just preaching around wherever could, in tent meetings and so forth. And I went to work, and I never will forget how we set up housekeeping. We went and rented 2 rooms for $4 a month. $2, you know, there wasn't much. And some lady gave us an old folding bed. Did you ever see one, the folding bed? And I went out to Sears and Roebuck and got me one of these little breakfast sets without being painted. And I remember I painted them, and right on the seat and on the table I painted a big shamrock. Being Irish, you know, so I painted a big shamrock, and we went to housekeeping. I went over to Mr. Weber's, Brother Curtis back there, some of his people, and he dealt and used goods, and I bought an old second-hand cooking stove for $1.75. And I paid, I believe it was $1 for new grates and put in it, and we started a housekeeping. But we were happy. We were happy as we could be. We just had one another, and that's all we cared for. We loved the Lord with all of our heart, and that's how we lived, just as happy as we could be. And I remember one day, then I wanted to go on a little fishing trip up at Mishawaka, Indiana. That was my first time ever come in contact with any Pentecostal people. and I went up to old Brother Ryan's and went fishing on my road back. There's having, it was the PA of W, I believe it is, or PA of JC. I think the organization's died out and gone now, but reunited with some other organization. But anyhow, is a preacher by the name of Rao at Mishawaka, had the tabernacle. Some of you might know him. Reverend Rao, well, yes, there's people with their hands up north, Reverend Rao. Well, it was at his tabernacle. I was coming back and I seen such a crowd of people and heard such a noise, and I thought, well, where in the world is all that noise coming from? And I went down there, there's religious people. And they were just screaming and shouting and jumping and running and carrying on. I thought, what kind of a bunch of people is that? So I drove my old Ford over to one side. I only had about $1.25 to live on, and so enough gasoline to get back home, about 250 miles. And I walked over there and went in, and those people, I never seen such church manners in my life. They were dancing, they were running, they were screaming. Why, I said, what kind of a people is this? I thought, I'll just slip inside the door and watch what they were doing. While they're clapping their hands and they're screaming, and some of them beating a tambourine, and some running up and down the floors, and some dancing and running around. I thought, well, what's wrong with those people? Never seen anything like that. So I got inside the door, and I never rubbed off, but it began to get on me. I began to look around, I thought, well, you know what? They're awful happy, awful free. They're just a little bit more freer than I am. So I said, maybe the Lord's got something I don't know nothing about. So I began to look at them, and somehow I began to get a love. I seen them love one another. And those women would grab one another and hug one another and kiss each other, and the man throw their arms around one another and hug each other. Well, I've never seen that before. I said, say, this is good to me. Believe I just stayed. They said, we're going to have services tonight. So I had $1.75. And I said, no. I got this man at least $1 more of that to go home on. I'll leave you 75 cents. I can't rent a room. So I went out and got me about 2 dozen rolls. And I said, I can live off these for a few days. I'm going to look around here and see what this is all about. So I went out and got me a place, a cornfield located where I could sleep that night. I come back down to the service, and that night he said, I want all the preachers to come to the platform. And I guess there's 300 or 400 preachers got on the platform. They're having a conference. And they had to have it up there on account of the southern states putting up the colored and white together. So they was having it up there, and I noticed all them preachers. That night they had a main speaker, was an old colored man. They had to lead him out to the platform. Had on one real bitty cutaway preacher coat, you know, the velvet collar, just a little rim of white hair, and a poor old fellow come out there. And all them ministers that day had been speaking about Christ and how great He was and everything. I was listening to them. They had all preachers come to the platform. I went up to sit down with them. We only had time, he said, just to have the preacher say who he is and where he's from. I just raised up and I said, Billy Branham, Jeffersonville, sit down. The rest of them along like that. Went on along down the line. This old preacher come out to preach and said he would go to preach the message that night. The old fellow come out and I thought, poor old brother. He's just all crippled up like this. He come out and he took his text him over, and I believe in Job 7:27 or somewhere there. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the world? See, when the morning stars sang together and the sons of God shouted for joy. And instead of preaching what he done down here on earth, he took him up back down about 10,000 years before the world was ever formed, brought him on down across through the skies and come down the horizontal rainbow back down in eternity somewhere. When that old fellow got anointed, he jumped up in the air, kicked his heels together, and hollered, whoopee! Walked off of that platform, looked around, he had more room than I got up here, said, you ain't got room enough up here for me to preach. Walked off, I said, that's what I want. If it'll make an old man act like that, what would it do to me? I said, that's the thing I want. That's what I want. I said, my, what a wonderful people. I went out that night and I got down the old cornfield and I prayed. Nobody knew me. So I took my trousers and put them between the seats of the Fords to press them, you know. Tuck the back seat out and the front seat out, put them out. Probably you've done the same thing, press them overnight. I lay down over there in the grass and I prayed nearly all night. The next morning they said they was going to have breakfast at 10 o'clock. I wouldn't eat with them because I had no money to put in the offering, and I just had my rolls. So I eat my rolls and come by a hydrant down there and got me some water. Come on down. And I'd been welcome, but I just didn't want to do it because I couldn't help them out, so I didn't have the money to. But I wondered what they had spiritually. And then that morning they started singing that little song, I know it was the blood, I know it was the blood, and oh my, this is having a real time. So as they got through all their jubilee part, then he said, Last night on the platform there was a young minister by the name of Billy Branham. I thought, uh-oh. Said, if he is in the building, tell him to come forth and speak for us this morning. Well, I never even seen a microphone before. And I was sitting back there with a pair of seersucker trousers on, a little T-shirt. I just hunkered down real easy. So they said, that fellow come up again, Mr. Kurtz. You all may know him. I think from Cincinnati. Reverend Kurtz, he's a short teacher he was there at the meeting. He said, anybody outside know where Reverend William Branham in Jeffersonville said, somebody come up to the platform and went to the service. I got down real low like this. I was sitting up beside of a colored man. He looked over and he said, do you know that guy? What was he going to do? I was sitting up. I said, yes, sir. And he said, well, go find him. Well, what was he going to do? I just couldn't lie to the man. I said, hold over here a minute, brother. I want to tell you something. He said, I'm him. But he said, you is? And I said, yes. I said, he said, go on up there. I said, look at here, father. I said, I got on this seersucker trousers and this T-shirt. I said, I can't go. I said, them people don't care what you dress like. Get on up there. I said, no. And just in a few minutes, Mr. Kirk said, anybody found the other guy? And told me, he said, got up there, and I said, I thought, Lord, have you ever helped anybody? You help me. I said, how do you do, folks? And I said, what am I going to read or what am I going to do? I was so nervous, I just couldn't hardly hold myself together. Now, I got over here and I turned over to Luke there where it said the rich man lifted up his eyes in hell, and then he cried. I just happened to follow him, and then he cried. I took that little 3 words, and then he cried. I started talking, everybody got to holler an amen, and then I cried. First thing you know, about 2 hours later, we got quiet. I went outside. The next thing I know, it done got on me or something. I got out there. Some fellow walked up with a big pair of boots on, a big Texas hat. Said, I'm Reverend so-and-so. Elder, I believe he called his name. I said, you a preacher? And Texas boots on, a big hat? I'm not so bad off after all. I said, you a preacher? He said, yes, sir, I'm a Pentecostal preacher. I said, so once you come down to Texas, hold a revival for me. I said, me? I said, well, look, brother, I said, I just don't know religion that good. And he said, I don't care, come on down, I like it. He told me, about that time a fellow tapped me on the shoulder, said, he was a preacher, and he had on little old knickerbocker or golf pants like, he was a preacher from Florida. I said, well, my seersucker trousers not so bad as well. So I looked around like that, and they had a woman come up as a missionary to the Indians, and I had all kind of places to, you don't know what the places I had to go. I went out there and got on the cornfield, and I just praised the Lord for giving me the opportunity, jumped in my old Ford, making 40 miles an hour, 20 miles this way and 20 miles up and down this way, down the road as well as we could go. I come home. When I got home, my wife, bless her heart, she was waiting. As usual, she'd run out and meet me. She'd see me coming. She's real, had a little long black hair, pretty brown eyes. She come running to me. She threw her arms around me, her and the baby, and she said, I just know you've had a good time fishing up there in the lake. I said, honey, I want to tell you what I've done. I said, I met the best people in the world. She said, what? I said, the best people in the world? You talk about people not ashamed of their religion, you ought to see them. I said, they clap their hands and they scream and run all over the floor and everything. She said, what? I said, yeah. She said, where are you at? I said, up at Mr. Walker. I said, I'm going to tell you something. Looky here. I pulled out a long piece of paper. I said, they want me to hold revivals for them all over the country. She said, you? And I said, yes. She said, sure enough, is that right? And I said, yes, sir. They told me I could hold revivals for them. And she said, well, I said, would you go with me? She said, sure. Bless her heart. She said, sure, I'll go. And that's a real wife. Go with me if you thick or thin. Well, now, when I started out to hold the meetings then, I was going to go to hold them. And I went and told my mother. She said, well, God bless you, honey. She said, years ago down in Kentucky, at the old Lone Star meeting house, we used to hear the people shout like that a long time ago and had that kind of a demonstration. Said, but it faded out. And I said, well, Mama, these people, they faded out of them. I said, they sure have got up there. And so we went over things when we got to her mother, and when we got over there, Why, there's where the trouble started right there. She said, William Branham, do you mean to tell me that you'd take my daughter out amongst a bunch of trash like that? I said, well, look, Miss Branham, they're not trash. She said, that's a bunch of holy rollers. She said, and you take her out here, starved to death? She said, today she might have something to eat, and tomorrow she might not have nothing to eat. But brother, I come to find out what she called trash is the cream of the crop. And she said, you mean to tell me that you'd take, said, and Hope started crying. And she said, Mother, she said, I want to go with him. And she said, very well, Hope, if you go, your mother will go in a grave heartbroken, that's all. And then Hope started crying. And there, friends, before my sorrow started, I listened to my mother-in-law in a fit of God. He was giving me the opportunity. And there, this gift would have been manifested long time ago if I just went ahead and done what God told me to do. But instead of that, I didn't want her to be angry, and I didn't want to hurt nobody's feelings, and so I just let it go like that. Just said, all right, we won't go. And right there, the sorrow started. Immediately after that, my father died. My brother was killed a few nights later from that. I lost my father, my brother, my wife, my baby, and my sister-in-law, and almost my own life within about 6 months' time. Just started going down. My church, everything went down, down, down. Hope taken sick. Just right after that, the 1937 flood had come on, and when it did, I got a job then. I went to working for the conservation. I was patrolling out in the, so when the floods began to come up, and you remember hearing many of us there and how people being washed away and things. And Hope taking sick, she's going over to get me a Christmas present. And the box book of the Martyrs is what I wanted for a Christmas present. And she got me a little fish box. And when I come in that afternoon, she was laying on the floor fainted. And I called our family doctor, Dr. Adair, and he came up there and he said, well, Bill, she's got pneumonia. And so he said, you have to stay up all night, Christmas Eve night. During that time, before that, a little girl baby, a little Sharon Rose, bless her little heart, she's in heaven too today. She'd been born into our home. Just the sweetest little thing you ever seen, just a few months old. And so then I remember that Dr. Adair told me, you have to stay up, Billy, keep the children out of the room here, and said, stay up and give a lot of fluid that night. And I did. And next morning, your mother wanted to take her down to the house, and she didn't care so much about Dr. Adair and taking her out and throw her into tuberculosis. So then I remember the flood coming on, they rushed her out to the government depot out there for the hospital, and that horrible night, it raining, twisting, blowing. Now, brother, sister, you prosper to my mistake now. Always mind God, no matter what anybody says to me. And I pray today that God in heaven, who looks down upon me standing here on this platform, will forgive me. I know that many thousands of souls I'll have to answer for it that day for listening to somebody else instead of God. That's true. Now, I remember out there that night, they taken her out to the government barracks where they used it for a temporary hospital. The floods were on, and I was down trying to patrol. I stepped out to see her, and she was sick, and both babies had taken pneumonia, and they were in there sick. And I'd rushed back. They was calling me everywhere in a patrol car. I went out of town, and I was coming up the street along about 11 o'clock, and the old dike had broke through up there, and down through the other part of the city was washed out, and we didn't know how many was killed or nothing. Such a horrible time. Now I remember I heard somebody hollering, screaming. I looked way over there past Chestnut Street, a big two-story building, and it was shaking like this, and there stood a mother out there with her baby in her arms in the building going down, screaming for mercy. Well, I lived on the river, and I thought I was a pretty good boatman. I went and got my boat out of the back of my car and set it in the water. It was a little patrol car I had, and I set the boat in the water, and I got out there to her and got her and 2 or 3 other little girls in the room. And I got them out. Just the time I got into the bank, I heard, she said, she'd fainted, and she hollered, my baby, get my baby. I thought she'd left a little bitty baby in the room, and I'd left it. So I started back, and the water just a-twisting. I couldn't hardly make it, and I finally got way up this way and come down and caught a hold of the outside post and tied my boat and run in. The baby, she thought about it as a baby, she was in her arms, about 2.5 years old. And then when I heard the building go out from under me, and I run out real quick, and I fell in the water, probably 25 feet. And I fell in the water, just got to hold the boat like this to keep it from pulling my boat down too, and undone loose the knot on the rope, crawled into the boat, then the thing was freezing like that. I couldn't get the outboard motor started on it. Out into the river, I whirled right out into the main part of the current, me pulling and pulling, and it wouldn't start. Then great waves, almost as high as this building here, licking up like that, that little bitty boat like that, me out there right so high falls, just about a mile and a half below me there, going right through them, which meant death at any minute. And there, brother, I had to think it over whether it was trash or not I was going out to sea. Yeah. There, pulling on that rope, and it wouldn't start, and I'd pull again, and it wouldn't start. Sick wife and babies laying out there, just lost my daddy and everything. And I knelt down the boat and I said, oh, God, have mercy, have mercy. I don't want to die out here in this river like this, and I want to raise them children. Please, dear Heavenly Father, if you just let it start, dear God, and that boat rocking from side to side like that, me trying to pull that. I thought, oh, it can't be this little piece forward in the falls. And I know that was the end of all of it then. Because them big waves like that, and it coming back this way, taking me right into the whirlpool there. And it's 7 or 8 feet deep, right straight down through there. In normal times, if anybody ever goes in there, that's all of it. And hang on those big rock ledges down through there, and there's some sort of find their body. And so I was praying out there, and I said, God, I know I've done wrong. I know I oughtn't to listen to what I did. Please, dear Heavenly Father, just trying to start. And just in a few moments, he gave a couple of little splutters and started. Hey. Oh, what a... Back in, I landed, come back and get all I could, and heard cutting this away and praying my gasoline hold out. Finally landed way down towards New Albany there, the other corner, and got in and went back, and he got my boat, or got my car. And when I got up there to find out about the mother and everything was all right, I slipped out to the government hospital to find out how my wife was. I was going to talk to her about it. And I went out there and there was just laying a little old army cot. And when I got there, it was all covered over with water. Where were they at? Then I started screaming to the top, and I got excited then. Major Weekly, a friend of mine there at the government, he walked up to me. He said, Reverend Branham? I said, yes, sir. He said, I don't think your wife is gone. Said, I think they got everybody out of there. Said, I think they went to Charleston, a city about 12, 14 miles above here. Said, I think they went out in a cattle car and heard pneumonia, just sleeping and blowing like that. 2 sick babies and them with pneumonia. One of them just 8 months old. And I thought, oh, mercy. They were on a cattle car. Then I jumped in my truck and went out there to get the road to go to Charleston. There's about 6 miles of water where the Lanky St. Creek had come through like this to get that. I run down and got in a speedboat, and I tried my best to get through them waves. I hit like this and would come back around. Like that, and I tried to bust those waves, and then out there got cut off from everything. Out there myself. I sat out there in the room for about 8 days, where we had to drop me something to eat. I had a lot of time to think over who I would listen to, God or somebody else. Whether it be one relative, mother, whoever it was. You listen to what God's got to tell you. And then I sat there and I prayed and cried. You got to make this stand. And then, instead of standing up against it, I thought more some woman was telling me than what my own conscience and God was telling in my heart. I thought, oh, God, what can I do? I went down there and I met another fellow, and I said, did any of them in the hospital get grounded, you know? He said, no, I don't think you was. He said, I think they all escaped. He said, Reverend Branham, I think your wife was on a boxcar. And they took her out to Charleston when that boat went out. Well, I run down with my car and got my speedboat, come back up and put it on the back of myself, run up and started to Charleston. I got up there to push it back to it. There's about 6 miles of water just waiting through there. Someone said, that's rain? They washed off the couples right up there. Oh, my. There it was again. I tell you, brother, back down behind his heart, the scars that you know nothing about. Then I put that boat in the water, and I cried hour after hour to pierce that current, and I couldn't do it. And then the water cut me off, and there was maroons out there. For about 7 days I sat out there. I had plenty of time to think things over. When the waters got out of hurry, I got through to Charleston. I walked up there, had on boots. I was going just as hard as I could. I run up to an old friend of mine, Mr. Hayes, called him Colonel Hayes, Superintendent of the Public Service Company. I went up to him and I said, Mr. Hayes, I said, did that train come through with that bunch of people? He said, I don't know, Billy. I said, let's go. We went all down to this little bitty city there, about 2,000 or 3,000 people. We went everywhere. Nobody heard anything of my wife. Oh, I thought wife and babies are wound around some baling wire or something other down there in one of them swamps, or maybe plumb down in the south somewhere, swallowed up, laying in a bunch of bushes, drowned her. Oh, God, I said, what can I do? What can I do? We went out to the railroad station, and there's a dispatcher there. Said, just a minute. Said, I believe that train come through. Said, the engineer of that train is here in the city today. Said, he is supposed to be down here in a little bit to take a train out. Said, I'll ask him. After a while, I'll run to him as soon as they told me that was him coming out. I said, sir, did you drive the train from the government depot that come through? He said, yes, I drove that train. I said, do you know Charlie Dunn? I said, certainly. He said, his daughter was on the train. I was back there with 2 sick babies. I said, that's my wife, sir. I said, where are they at? Said, they're somewhere. I let them off at, I believe, at Kokomo, Indiana. And I said, you did? He said, yes. I started to foot the wall. I was going to get there somewhere. I began to come almost beside myself. I started off, and I met a man. He said, I know who you're looking for, Billy. Is a friend of mine. Said, you're looking for Hope, aren't you? And I said, yes, you know about her? I mean, not at Kokomo, it's Seymour, Indiana. He said, she's laying up there in the Baptist church at Seymour, Indiana, dying with tuberculosis, laying by the side of my wife and my girlfriend. And I said, dying with TB? He said, yes, Bill. Said, I hate to tell you, but you wouldn't know her. I said, is the baby alive? But I don't know anything about the baby. Oh, my. I said, oh, can we get there? Said, I've got a secret road. Said, I can take you. And we got in there late that night, and the basketball room there where the Baptist church had fixed up for the refugees to come in, and they said she was down there, and I run through there screaming top of my voice, Hope, Hope, honey, where are you? Where are you? And I looked, oh, I'll never forget that. Back over there on an old government cot, I seen a little bony hand raised up. That was my darling. I run through her real quick. I throw down at her. Those dark eyes are sunk way back in her head. She's fallen lots of weight. I said, sweetheart? She said, I look awful, don't I? I said, no, honey, is the baby alive? Yes, she said, Mother has the baby. Said, Billy's been awfully sick. Sharon's a little better. And she said, I'm awfully sick. I started crying. I said, God, don't take her from me. Please don't, Lord. I thought somebody touched me on the back. It was the doctor. Said, Reverend Branham? And I said, yes, sir. Come here just a minute. He said, aren't you afraid of Sam Adair? And I said, yes, sir, I am. He said, I hate to tell you this, Reverend Branham, but your wife's dying. He said, your wife's got tuberculosis. Sam told me to tell you just to make her comfortable and not to be excited around her. I said, she dying, doctor? I said, she can't, doctor. Oh, she can't do it. I said, I love her with all my heart, and I'm a Christian. And I said, I just know she ain't going to die. I just can't think of the thoughts to think that she'd be taken away from me here. And with these 2 little babies, how could I stand it? He said, well, I hate to tell you, but there's nothing can be done as far as I know. I went back to her trying to brace myself up and talk to her. A few days we took her home. She just kept getting worse and worse and worse. I went to Louisville and had specialists and everything, took her out to the hospital. Dr. Miller from the sanitarium come down and looked. He called me out to one side and said, Reverend Branham, she's going to die. Said, there ain't nothing can be done for her. Said, she's going to die. And I said, Dr. Miller, honest, isn't there something I can do? Could I take her to Arizona? Could I do something for her? Said, it's too late now, Billy. Said, that galloping tuberculosis, said it kills them right away. Said, her family's had it back behind there, which I knew later that they did. And said, she just broke with it. Just got such a hold on her. Said, he'd give her pneumothorax treatments and everything. It's just not to hold her hand. When they'd bore that hole in her side to collapse them lungs, they had to go over it wouldn't be done. And she'd hold my hand, bless her heart, I'd have to almost pull her hand off of mine from suffering. Holding where they'd bore that hole in there and collapse the lungs on the side, and that tuberculosis traveling right on up like that. I knew she was going, and I was doing all that I could do, and I was working. I remember I was out, and I heard a patrol sign come through. It said, calling William Branham. Come to the hospital immediately, wife dying. I never will forget. I took off my hat, sitting in the truck. I held up my hand and I said, oh, Jesus, please don't let her go. Let me talk to her once more before she goes. Please do. Save her. I was about 20 miles away from home. I turned on the lights and everything. I went down the road real swift, stopped in front of the hospital and turned off the gun barrel into the place. I went real quick. I started walking down through the Clark County Memorial Hospital. As I started down through there, I looked and I seen poor little doctor there come walking down through there with his head down. God bless that man. And he looked at me like that. What he did, he threw his hands up like that and started crying, running to the hall. And I run up to him, put my arm around him. I said, Sam, is it? And he said, Billy, I'm afraid she's gone now. I said, come go with me, Doc. Let's go in. He said, Bill, please don't ask me to do that. I said, oh, boy, I love you. He put his arms around me. He said, I love you, Billy. He said, we've been bosom friends. He said, I can't go and look at Hope again. He said, that's like my sister laying there. He said, she's baked me pies and everything. He said, how could I go in and see her going like that? He said, come here, nurse. I said, no, let me go myself. And nurse said, I'll take in her. Said, here's, try to give me some little old medicine there to quiet. I said, I don't want that. I walked on into the room, shut the door behind me. I looked over there. They done had the sheet pulled up over her face. I pulled that sheet down and looked. She was real thin and she's drawn up like this. I put my hands on her. Perspiration was real sticky. Her face was cold. I shook her. I said, Hope, sweetheart, please speak to me once more. I said, God, have mercy. I said, never again will I think them people are trash. I'll make my stand. During that time, we both received the Holy Ghost, so I said, please, will you, Lord? I shook her. I said, oh, please speak to me once more. And I shook her again like that. Those great, big, dark eyes looked up at me. She said, come here. I got down real close to where she was. She said, oh, why did you call me, honey? I said, call you? I said, sweetheart, I thought you were gone. She said, oh, Bill. About that time, the nurse ran in and said, Reverend Branham here, and said, you had that little medicine? I said, no. She called the nurse, Miss Quick. She said, come here. She said, sit down just a minute. I've just got a few minutes left. And she was Hope's friend. And she was biting her lip. She said, when you get married, I hope you get a husband like mine. And you know how it made me feel. She said, he's been good to me. We've loved each other the way we have. And said, I hope you get a husband like mine. I turned my head. I couldn't stand it. First sort of walked out of the room. I walked over to her. I said, sweetheart, you're not going to leave me, are you? And she said, oh, Bill. She said, you've talked about it. You preached about it, but you don't know how glorious it is. She said, just before you called me, there was something white was taking me home. I was going down to a great big place where there's pretty trees and big birds and swings. I was just perfectly at peace. Being taken to my home, I believe she's seen paradise as sure as I'm standing this platform. She said, you've talked about that wonderful Holy Spirit, Bill, but you don't know how wonderful it is when He comes to cross. That's the reason I'm for it, brother. I know it's real. I've seen it at the end of the road. Yeah, you call it if you want to, but let me die one. That's the way I want to go. Yes, sir. He said, oh, you don't know how wonderful it is. She said, sweetheart, you know I'm going, don't you? And I said, yes. She didn't mind going. She said, oh, it's all right, Bill. I hate to leave you and the children, but oh, how wonderful that place is over there. She said, I want to go back. And she said, you know why I'm going, Norton? Oh, that's what killed me. I said, yes, honey, I know it. I said, if we'd have minded God instead of your mother, it wouldn't been this way. I said, I'm going with him, don't you worry. She said, promise me that you'll preach it as long as you live. I said, so help me God. I said, I'll do all that I can, honey. And she said, I want you to do a few things for me, will you? I said, yes, I'll try it. I said, I'll do all I can. And she said, you remember that time when we was in Louisville and you wanted to buy that rifle to go hunting? And I just love guns. And it's taken $3 to make a down payment on it. And I said, yeah, I remember it. She said, we didn't have any money to pay for it. And I said, no. She said, sweetheart, she said, I wanted to get you that rifle so bad. She said, I've been saving for about 8 months. And she said, after I'm gone, when you go home, look up on the folded bed on that paper, and you'll find the money there. You know, I got you $1.75 saved towards it. Laying up there, you know what I got when I picked up that $1.75 and looked at it. She said another thing. One time I bought the wrong pair of stockings for her. I never didn't know what kind of goods to call for, and I called for the wrong thing. She told me about that. Then she said, I don't want you to live single. I want you to promise me that you'll take my children and you'll get some good girl that's got the Holy Ghost and get married and she'll be good to me. And she said, so we won't have to be told about from pillar to post. And I said,
honey, I can't promise that. I love you too much to ever get married. She said, please, please. She said, you can't take care of that little girl, little Billy. I said, well, honey, don't make me promise that. She said, well, I know if you promise me, you'll do it. And I seen her going fast. And I said, sweetheart, are you going? She said, yes. I said, if I'm alive, I'll be on the battlefield somewhere preaching the gospel when Jesus comes. But if I'm not, I said, I'll be planted by your side. I said, when the dead in Christ rise, if I have not to be right with you, if I'm out in the field somewhere, and you go over, I said, you go over to the east side of the gate. You stand there when you see Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob coming up, you scream, Bill, just as loud as you can. I said, I'll get the children together and I'll meet you there. She said, I'll be looking for you. She threw her arms up like that night. Kissed her goodbye. She went to be with God. That's my date with my wife. I'm living as true as I know how to keep it. Someday I'll be there, by God's grace. When I returned home, oh, how I felt. I just couldn't hardly stand it. They took her down to the undertaker, and he embalmed her body and laid her out. I was laying there that night. I happened to look. Somebody knocked at the door. Mr. Boyd come up. He said, Billy, but I hate to tell you the bad news. I said, so Frank, I know she's done it. In the morning, he said, that's not all of it. So your baby's down too. I said, my what? Sherry's down? I said, Sherry's dying. So we just took her to the hospital, and doctor there said, you can't live just a little bit longer. I couldn't stand up. They picked me up. I was sitting in a little Chevrolet truck. We went out to the hospital. I jumped out of the car, started in. Nurse said, Reverend Branham, you can't go down there. So she's got tubercular meningitis. She's caught it from her mother and went to the spine. Said, you can't go in there on account of the little boy. And I said, Nurse, I got to see my baby. She said, you can't do it. When she turned her back, I went in anyhow. I went down there in the room, and there flies was in her eyes. There's a little old hospital out there. I took this little mosquito bar, what it was, shoot the flies away from her, and I looked down at her. Her little fat leg was moving up and down, looked like she's waving her little hand. I remember wife would put her on her little 3 corners and set her out there in the yard, and I come along, just the way I touched that little siren, she'd know it was me, and she'd just jump and go, goo, goo, goo. And I'd pick her up my arm, and she'd love me. I see my baby going, oh, I just couldn't stand it. I thought, oh, God, what can I do? What can I do? I knelt down, I said, Heavenly Father, please don't take her. Take me in her stead. I said, let me go. You're tearing me to pieces. Let me go. Just then, as I raised my eyes up, I seen a dark, bright veil floating down. I know she was going. I raised up and looked down at the bed at her, her little fat arm. Waving as the stars in light. I looked at her. Oh, she's suffering so hard to her pretty little blue eyes across. One of them was. That's the reason I can't stand to see a cross-eyed child, Harley. I've seen 400 and some odd cross-eyed children healed in 3 months' time in my media. I've never seen one cross the platform without being healed. Now I think of my little baby. Sometimes God has to crush a rose to get the perfume out of it, you know. I seen little cherry in her little eyes crossing her little squibbing. I said, you know, Daddy, honey, and her little squibbing like that. I see her little mouth coming over. I know she was going. I laid my hand on top of her and I said, God bless you, darling. You're an angel. You're going to be with Mama. Someday Dad will see you by God's grace. I raised my hand. I said, Lord, I know I've done wrong. But it's Job of old, though you slay me. Yeah, I love you. I can't help it. I love you in my heart. You're just about to kill me, Lord, but I love you anyhow. Take her, Lord. Not my will, but thine be done. Felt like every bone in my body come unjointed. I swayed a little bit. Angels of God come, took the little thing, took her home. I took her down, put her in the casket. And Mother, we took her out to the cemetery. The minister stood there, picked up a handful of dirt, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, and earth to earth. I heard the rope squeaking as they let them down. Sounded like the breeze coming down through an old maple tree. Said, there's the land beyond the river. that they call the sweet forever, we only reach that shore by faith degrees. One by one we'll gain the portal, there to dwell with the immortal. Someday they'll ring the golden bells for you and me. I returned home. I couldn't be satisfied. I could see my wife going, but that baby, how could I give it up? What can I do about that? I went on back to work. One morning I was climbing a pole, working as a lineman. I hooked my belt like that, and I was singing up there, working around the palm areas. I was singing, on the hill far away stood an old rugged cross. The sun was just coming up. That cross arm on the pole made my shadow on the side of the bank look like a body on the cross. The wiggle I looked, yes, it was my sin and shame that put him there. I was the one who nailed him to the cross, the Prince of Life. I said, oh, God, but in heaven somewhere you got my little girl. And there I become almost frantic, almost a mental collapse. I took off my rubber glove. 2300 is running right to the side of me. I said, God, I hate to be a coward, but Sherry, honey, Daddy's coming to see you this morning. I started laying my hand down on that wire. Why, it broke every bone in my body. I don't know. Unless God had foreordained that this gift should go forth. The next thing I knew, I was sitting on the ground. Perspiration running off my face. I took off my spurs, put them in the truck, went home. As I went around the house, I picked up the mail. Went around the house, spent a few months had passed. Turned cold weather, frost was coming up through the floor there. I wouldn't go nowhere. We didn't have very much, but what we had, she and I lived together with it. It was home, sweet home to me. I don't care how it was. It was her furniture, and I wanted to stay at home. When I went in the house, first letter I looked at, Miss Sharon Rose Branham, 80 cents, Christmas saving. Oh, my, all over again. I knelt down on the floor there. I started crying. I said, God, please have mercy upon me. I'll take my own life. I've been a warden. In the room I had a gun. I went in to get this gun. I put the shells in it. I pulled the hammer back on the gun. I said, Lord, I'm gone wild. I don't know. I was out of my head. I put it up the side of my head like this, and I said, oh, Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Squeeze the hammer, it wouldn't fall. I said, oh, I can't even take my own life. I threw the gun down, shot it over the house. Oh, when I like that, and I went, oh, God, well, I've gone crazy. I lost my mind. And I fell down on the floor. I went to sleep, and when I went to sleep, I dreamed. I thought I was out west here somewhere. I always loved the west. I had on one of these big hats like the cowboys wear. I was going walking down through a prairie, and there's an old prairie schooner laying there, and the wheel broke down on it. I was singing, the wheel on the wagon is broken, sign on the ranch for sale. Oh, like that. I looked down there, and there stood the most beautiful young blonde-headed woman standing there. Hair glowing, she's dressed in white. That's the prettiest girl I ever seen. I hit my head, I said, how do you do, sister? And then she said, hi, Dad. And I looked around, I said, Dad? She said, yes. I said, well, I don't understand this. I said, you call me your daddy. She said, Dad, you just don't know where you're at. I said, this is heaven. I said, on earth I was your little Sharon Rose. But don't you remember your teaching of immortality? I teach that there won't be little bitty babies like that in heaven. We'll all be one age and one size. The immortal, you have to always be that way. We'll just be, there'll be no real old people and no real little bitty babies. We'll just be one age, the youth forever. And she said, don't you remember your teaching of immortality? I said, you're not Sharon. She said, yes, Daddy. I said, well, Sharon, honey, I don't understand. She said, where's Billy Paul? That's your little brother, the one Sharon. I said, well, I left him just a while ago, but I don't understand. She said, Daddy, Mother's waiting for you at home. I said, home? I said, honey, I never had a home. Branhams are vagabonds like I said, I never had a home. She said, but Dad, you got a home up here. She said, turn, look this way. I looked out there and I seen the glory of God coming up. I see the great, big, pretty mansion there. She said, that's your home, Daddy. Then Mother's waiting for you. She said, you go on, Mother won't see you. I want to wait here for Billy. And I took out up through there. I got to the door, and there she come out to meet me. She always did. Not sickly, not all drawn up, eat up with two burglars. She come out with her arms out, that black hair hanging down her leg, dressed in white. She said, held out her arms to me, and I run to her, grabbed her by the hands and knelt down. I said, oh, Hope, honey. I said, I met Sharon, didn't our darling make a pretty woman? I said, yes, Bill. She said, you're worrying too much, honey. I said, worrying? How could I keep from worrying? And she said, look, said, you're just worrying about Sharon and I? Said, don't worry about us. We're so much better off than you are. And I said, well, honey, everything's been going wrong and everything. She said, I know all about it. She said, now stand up. And I stood up and I looked at her, and oh, she looked like she did the night I married her. And I looked at her and she said, won't you sit down? And I looked, and there's a great big Morris chair sitting there. And I looked over at her. She said, I know what you're thinking. When we didn't have any chairs. We had the old hickory bottom chairs, you know what the Argentine bottom. We had 2 or 3 of those. And I wanted a Morris chair to sit in. They could buy them there for $15, and I paid $3 down, $1 a week. And I got one, and I paid up to about $8 or $10 on it. And I just couldn't make the payments. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't shave that dollar out. And I went about 2 or 3 weeks behind, and they sent me a dame who's going to come get it, and I wrote them, told them they'd have to come. I remember the day they come and got my chair. Wife baked me a cherry pie, and she had it all fixed for me. And I come in, a real wife. God bless her. Her baby white with snow, but I still love her. And when she had this, I thought there was something happening. I went in, she was talking. She said, now, I had some of the boys to dig some fish morning. Said, we're going down to the river. She knew that I love to fish. She said, we're going down to fish tonight. And I said, well, honey, what's the matter? She said, nothing. After supper, I thought something. I said, let's go in the front room. She said, no, let's go fishing first. I know what it was. I got up and so I walked the door. She come put her arms around me. They'd come got my chair. I'd work all day and preach half the night, and then I'd sit in this chair and study when I'd rest and go to sleep. And they'd come got it, and I owed money on it and couldn't pay it. They had to come get it, and I never will forget how we felt. And she'd recognize that when we were standing talking. She said, you remember that chair they come and got? I said, yes, honey. She said, they'll never come get this one. This one's yours. She said, put her out. They promised me you won't weary. She put her arms around me. I said, honey, I promise you I'd never weary again. I woke up and I was in the room. I could still feel her arms around me. But from that day to this, I haven't worried about it. They're beyond the blue. Someday I've got to go too. Each one of us has to make that journey here. Oh, my life, brother, sister, scarred and cut and went through a stream of poverty and tears that paves the way behind me. You don't realize, no wonder sometimes it saps the very life from me. But today, I'm trying to be as reverent as I can be before Him. I'm trying my best, coming right back, serving that same people that was considered trash at one time. They're my brother and sister, and I love them with all my heart, and I'm taking that gift and going day and night. Even here 2 weeks when it's nearly got me to a place I had about an hour and something sleep last night. What's the matter? I'm keeping my promise to God just so. And the last parts of the country, wherever I can go with a reverent, sincere heart, I want to serve God until the day He calls me home. There's a beautiful home all over the sea somewhere. Some woman said to me not long ago, said, Brother Branham, when are you going to get some rest? I said, when I cross over the river. I got a home over there, a loved one. I got a chair to sit in. I'm going to cross over one of these days. She told me Sunday, she said, you're so tired, aren't you? And I said, yes, I said, you've been praying for the sick so much. I never prayed for the sick like that before. So one of these days, sitting on the platform like this, God will open up the windows. I'll be maybe an old man, shaking on a cane, but He won't turn me down. I'll cross over His shirt, I'm telling you. If I can only prove faithful to my Savior, then I'll claim He will bear me that day. Don't you believe that? We'll be faithful. That's right. Time is filled with swift translation. Not earth will move concern. Build your hopes on things eternal. Hold to God's unchanging hand. Friends may come and go. One day, growing drear, precious Lord, linger near. When my life is almost gone, after a little I'll stand, guide my feet, hold my hand. Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me home. Let me not listen to the Lord, but to my Savior. Be not faithful to Him. Someday He'll guide me to the other side. I trust that every one of you here, friends, There's one in here that's not ready to meet God. Listen to me as I speak to you in the name of the Lord. You've got a good opportunity now. You've got a wonderful time to come and accept Him. Put my Bible over my heart. Someday everything that you've ever done in this life will be naught unless you give your life to Christ. Come with me. If you love me, let us go together. There waits for me a glad tomorrow. Sing it with me. Where day our full swing open wide. And when I cross this veil of sorrow, I'll step up on the other side. Someday, beyond the reach of my fear, someday, God only knows just where I'm going. The wheel of mortal life shall stand still. That we shall go together on Zion Hill. Oh God, someday these wheels are going to stop this old body. All the mortal life will stand still. Then the soul, like a tooth coming from the body, being obstructed. These bullet threads of life that we're walking on will break through, and our souls will plunge into eternity. Help us, God. Help us today. Grant it, Lord. May sinners without a way come in today, Lord, and be saved. Come to the fold. Come to the shepherd. Find safety and shelter. And may they see that by your poor disobedient servants' mistakes that they can be blessed. Oh God, I think years ago by what I have done, what you told me to do, how many more people have been saved today? I'm sorry, Lord. Help me now, will you, Lord? Bless every one of the children, the sinners here, bless them, Lord. While we have our heads bowed, the sister's praying, oh brother, that waits for me to go out tomorrow. I wonder how many sinners in here put up their hands and say, Brother Branham, pray for me. I'm unsaved and I want to be saved. God bless you. Oh, my hands up everywhere. Lord, if God would hear my prayer to heal the sick, don't you think He'll hear my prayer to help save your soul? How many now, while we're singing that song in a few minutes, waits for me a glad tomorrow? Will you come down here and shake my hand, stand here at the altar just a moment while we have Lord? Don't you love Him? Oh, what could you do? The other day, a young fellow come here in a meeting. He sat here. He just gave his life to Christ and went out and was killed instantly on a tractor. Another man standing here tonight, holding his hands, went home and died in a little bit. Oh, brother. If you know not God, why not come now? Will you come right now while we stand and sing, if you will? You just want to find peace with God. Believe that He hears my prayer. If you need something from God, salvation, won't you come just now? All right. Give us. All right, that's okay. That's all right. Almost persuaded. All right, almost persuaded. God bless you. Just comes down, shakes my hand. Come all the way from South America to meet this time. Won't you come too? Come down, God bless you, sister. That's the way to come. I remember, friends, this may be the round your opportunity. God bless you. Come stand right here. Just stand right here. Come out around, son. God bless you, brother. That's wonderful. God bless you, sister. Oh, my, look at him coming. Won't you come? Oh, that's marvelous. Come out here. All you today that need, come out here, gather around the altar. An old-fashioned altar call now. Everybody's together now. while we sing, come right on down. We'll get out here with you. I believe God will save everybody that's unsaved. Wouldn't it? Now to come right down this way, brother, so I can get to you just in a moment. Won't you come now? Come right on. Lord, Christians pray everywhere now. Everybody not feeling that you're coming to the altar. When God is here, He's calling for you. If you're backslidden, come on. You need God, come on. This is the time. Make your calling now. What a wonderful time to know right in this revival you were saved. Right at the afternoon when the Holy Spirit is gospel to my mission. Oh, turn not away. Jesus, come down, bloody, let's fight you. Angel, are lingering. Where's light from heart so dear? What if you could step over and open up the gates of hell and look down there to the people stuck on them same benches where you slept? That's in hell now. They had the same opportunity as you had. Mothers and daughters were weeping, fathers and mothers holding each other's hands. Won't you come? You're invited now. Christians are praying. We believe that the Holy Spirit's going to fall here in a few minutes. Just a great, isn't this wonderful? Can't you feel that, friends? That heavenly atmosphere around the people now. Angels of God lingering there. Won't you come? This is the hour. You've always wanted to be saved, haven't you? This is the time to fulfill the things that you promised God. Remember when He took the baby? Another died, and some of them you said, I'll be a Christian. You haven't fulfilled that yet. Won't you come on down? Delay is bad. Come on now, while we gather around, everyone, backsliders and sinners, gather around the altar now for an old-fashioned altar call. Christians, pray now. Speak to somebody standing near you. Ask them if they're a Christian. And come on down the altar. We won't go through a backslidden. There's many of the Spanish standing around Indians. Oh, Jesus is concerned about this. What's this meeting been going on for? What's the supernatural show? There He is. He's here now. Hear me, believe me. Everybody that will come here believing will be saved right now. If you'll just come, the doors of mercy is open now. In the morning may be too late for you. Won't you come? How many of you have not received the Holy Ghost? Let's see your hands. What's the baptism? A few of you. Walk right down. Gather down with them. Come on down the aisle. Come on over there. Don't you bring your forgive the Holy Ghost now without being born again yourself. That's right. Come on over down the aisle. How wonderful. Christian, get your sinner friend. Come on up down the altar here. With us now, one of the greatest times that you've ever witnessed, I believe. Here comes a poor boy walking on crutches. God bless you, boy. Have faith in God. Give your life to Him now. You throw your crutches away and walk out without Him. God will heal you while you're standing there. Come down now, you that